Hello there, Kinky Weasel here again. I'm going to do another build and I'm going to try and make it a quick build, just something, nothing too fancy, just to try and see how easy it is to knock out some half decent Gaslands looking vehicles. So I'm using this thing here. It's not a Hot Wheels, it's not a Matchbox, it's just a generic made in China vehicle. It came in a bag that I picked up, a bag of loads. It's knocked around, it's smashed up, it's bashed up. So yeah, let's see what I can do with that. Hopefully a half decent result. Right, so first thing I'm going to do is take the wheels off. As you can see, the wheels are all a bit smashed and bashed and knackered, not looking pretty. So let's just snip them off. One. Two. God knows where they've ended up. So it is now free of wheels. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm not actually going to do anything to remove the paint. I'm going to use the paint as is to make this as easy as possible, but I am going to put a matte acrylic varnish over the top of it. That will just help everything else adhere to it better. So there it is, all undercoated now, so that will give us a much nicer base to work from without having to clean the car back. And also by using a clear base, it means I can retain that colour, which is minimising the amount of painting, repainting, overpainting I've got to do. So let's get started. I've decided I'm going to do this car in two colours, a top half and a bottom half. I'm keeping the yellow on the bottom half, so I've masked it off and I will be making a start on the top half. I'm doing the top half this colour, Army Painter War Paints Electric Blue. And I imagine a lot of people can probably spot what I'm doing now from the colours that I'm using. I hope that you don't see this as hollow, meaningless virtue signalling or anything. It's just, I just felt it's something I wanted to do. What I'm doing, I'm being quite careful with this paint. I'm trying to preserve where the paint has already chipped off to maintain the damaged paint won't look. Now this is the first coat. It's going to take at least another coat, possibly a couple more, to get the colour looking nice and consistent. But it's going on okay, and that's because there's a matte coat over the original gloss coloured paint. So there you go, as you can see, the colour is taking very nicely on the paint, the original base coat paint, because it's no longer shiny and glossy. So that's the start. I'll finish this off and then we'll see what it looks like afterwards. It's had 2 or 3 thinned down coats, and it's taken quite well, apart from on the roof where I put it on a bit thick to start with, and so it didn't take very well. It went on too thick, but we can work that out a bit later. And I'm going to try and just remove this masking tape. It will probably need a little bit of tidying up, but overall, hey, look at that. That's worked quite nicely. Not turned out bad, has it? Got it fairly even. That's kind of the effect that I was hoping for. Colours work. The damage is still evident there, damage on the paint, so probably can do something with that. But there you go. So to start with, it's looking pretty good. There will be bits I need to tidy up. But I'm pleased with how the colour has taken on that. So I'm going to use the old Army Painter speed paint again and run it into the recesses of the brake lights, and I hope that it spreads itself out and gives a nice effect. I will need to clean up the edges because I've been really slapdash with this red. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to let that dry now and just sort of touch it in with a little bit of yellow or something, just to clean it up. But yeah, it's not a bad look for the rear lights, is it? It's quite nice. Now the paints are dry, I'm going to apply a wash. Now I'm using the Army Painter Soft Tone on the yellow, and I have diluted it with water so that it's a very translucent wash. And I'm going to paint it over the entire yellow part of the car. Now what I'm hoping is that it's going to flow into the recesses, like around the doors. I might need to assist it with that. And also that it's just going to slightly dull down the yellow coloration and maybe add a bit of depth to it as well. Flowing a little bit of slightly less diluted into some of the especially deep parts, just to try and pick up and emphasise the shadow, or the depth I should say. There you go. So we'll leave that to dry and see what it looks like. So while the wash on the yellow is drying, I'm going to come in with a much darker sort of black toned wash on the blue bit. Again, same idea, just to pick up on the depth, the shadows, give it a bit of definition, a bit of interest. I'm also hoping as well as that this dark wash will settle in the sort of the gaps between the paint and the bare metal, just to sort of emphasise that join. I'm not sure how successful that's going to be, but we'll see. Let's leave that to dry. Hopefully that will work as is. I might need to do some highlighting. We shall have to see. It's kind of worked to some degree or other. The recesses around the bonnet and the boot hasn't really worked very well, and the doors aren't particularly shaded either, so I'm going to have to go in and do something with that, I think. So, I think I'll give speed paint a go. Yeah. So, using a slightly diluted speed paint, let's see how this will work. Just running it along that join. I don't know if diluting it will affect how it works. I guess we'll find out, but there you go, there's one. I think I've very possibly cut this up. No, let's let it dry and see how it goes. Okay, so what I'm doing is, you see where the edges, where the paint meets the bare metal. I'm going to try and do a bit of a raggedy edge highlight around there. I don't know that it's going to look any good at all, but it's something I'm going to try. So what I'm using is the original base colour, but thinned down to really quite thin consistency, just to see if it's going to make the edges of this damage pop at all. I think it's got potential. Okay, so I got a little bit carried away. I did edge in the edges of the paint. I also painted in some scratches, which I've sort of highlighted or low lighted, whatever, with the lighter colour, and the same on the two sides. So it's a kind of bashed up car now, but that was always the intention. But yeah, all I've done is worked with the damage that was already there. So I have to work out what I'm going to do with the rest of it now. Okay, so I've made a decision. I have painted in the front grille and the sort of bull bar thing in silver, painted it all in silver, and the rear bumper I've painted in silver as well. What I'm going to do now is go back with my dark tone wash, and I'm going to wash an undiluted into the gaps in there. Do you know what? Probably going to do a similar thing here as well. Oops. Just touch it over the rear bumper, just to darken it down a little bit. So, a little bit more progress now. What I've done is armoured up the windows. And all I've done for this, nice and simple, I've used the actual original window on the casting itself. So I've cut some holes. So I just drilled through with a pin vise, and then I've sort of cut with a craft knife, a bit of filing just to get the slots in the windows there. Just use the pin vise to drill these holes in the passenger side window. And also I've just added an extra strut on this side, which is, I've got to finish painting, but I made that out of aluminium foil. Just cut a strip, folded it over a couple of times to give it a bit of depth, stuck it in there and painted it, nice and simple. And we have a gun sticking out of the passenger side window. That is the passenger side window because this is being filmed in the UK, so it's a right-hand drive car. And that is a trimmed down piece of the stem from a lateral flow test swab. So something that was free, a bit of plastic was going to get thrown away, is being reused. And this metal panel on the rear window is a piece of cereal box card covered in the aluminium foil that I used on the strut there. But before I wrapped it around the cereal foil card, I used a repelling pencil to push the rivets into it. So they've been stuck on there, they've been painted, they've been washed in black. So that's simple as that. Simple and cheap and hopefully effective. Also what I've done, cut a couple of pieces of wire, cut the axle to length and stuck some wheels on from another Hot Wheels, big chunky off-road type wheels. So that's where I am so far. So I think the car needs a little bit more on it, particularly in terms of weapons. So I'm going to try and knock together a kind of multiple launch rocket pack. Some old styrene tube from somewhere or other in my bits box. It is scrap from something, I can't remember what, which I've cut to length. So I've got 5 tubes here that I'm going to try and stick together and see if I can fashion some kind of rocket launch device from it. I'm using polystyrene cement, A, because it is the right tool for the job, and B, it doesn't set immediately, so you've got a bit of work time with it. That's the arrangement of the pipes there. Obviously I'm going to have to let the glue dry now, and then we'll see what we can do with it. Alright, I do apologise, I got a little bit carried away and didn't film myself while I was making this thing, but essentially it's fairly straightforward. So the 5 pipes are all stuck together in that kind of format. I've cut some pieces from 2mm thick plastic card. So I've cut 2 pieces which are sandwiched together, and then a smaller piece to stick on the back. Also cut a couple of triangular bracket type things to stick on the sides. The circles on each bit, which are supposed to look like pivots or something, are sections cut from the lateral flow test pipe, and then the strip across the back is just a strip of aluminium foil from the top of a coffee pot that I flattened out and just wrapped around just to give it another texture look. And so there you go, it will fit when it's all dry and painted on the roof of the car. There you go, very quick scratch, spill, trash, bash weapon system for the car. So far, other than the wheels, which come from another Hot Wheels which are kicking around anyway, all of the accessories and embellishments and changes have all been made for free, absolutely nothing. And that's something that I wholeheartedly go along with. Right, so the rocket launcher is painted. Fairly simple paint job. I painted it black and then I dry brushed it with silver and did a couple of highlights on it, but not that you'd notice. I think it looks okay. I've also stuck some cables or power feeds going to it. That's a twin flex from the back of an old Christmas light transformer. Just snipped a bit off, stuck it in, painted it. Very simple. And I've stuck a couple of rams, or 3 rams on the front as well. Again, that's the plastic card that I used. Just the offcuts of plastic card, sort of cut to size, cut to shape, stuck in there. Painted silver, given a wash of a dark colour over the top of it, and then again just very faint highlight on the edges just to make it look worn. So weapons wise, I think that's finished now. So the next thing I want to do is do a dark wash on the wheels, just to dull them down a bit so they don't look so bright, shiny and straight out the showroom. There you go, so I think that's improved the wheels somewhat. With a bit of luck, we're getting near to the end of this project, which has turned out to be less of a simple, quick and dirty build than I thought it was going to be, but it's been fun. So, first stage in my weathering is I'm going to get the wheels looking dusty and dirty. They're big knobbly tyres, so there's plenty of possibility to pick up that texture. I'm using a very, very thinned down wash of a sort of a mid muddy, dusty brown colour. Just running that over the tyres so that it gathers in the cleats of the tyres, just to look like dirt and muck that's gathered up in the treads. Very, very simple process. She's going really, really thin, and you actually want it to be pooling into the deeper bits, into the recesses. But there you go, easy peasy, simple as that. Once that's dry, it will be matte, it will look dirty, dusty and horrible and mucky, and that's the look we're going for. So we are finished. I've done some weathering on the side, just a little bit of dry brushing just to make it look a bit dusty. A little bit of dry brushing on the wheels as well to fill in around where the wash was put in the tyres. So there you go, finished article. Also another little thing there, let's put it in the back. For those of you that know what that means, then you know what that means. I'm not going to explain it, but it is a reference to the military personnel in Ukraine that defended Snake Island. So yeah, the car is clearly inspired by the Ukrainian flag. The shape of the rams on the front is inspired by the Ukrainian coat of arms, the sort of trident, elaborate trident they have on their coat of arms. And so this is a car that is a tribute, if you like, to Ukraine. Not making a comment on the politics of it, I'm just inspired by recent events. Okay, the plan is, now that it's finished, I want to auction this car. I want to auction it to raise funds to assist the humanitarian effort for those suffering in Ukraine at the moment. So I will give some thought about the format of that. If anyone's got any suggestions, then please put them in the comments below. So there you have it. That's the build. Thank you for watching. The glamour shots will follow next on the turntable. And tell me what you think. Make any suggestions you want with regards to how I can use this to raise some funds for charity. But anyway, thank you for watching. Stay safe, everybody, and bye for now.